Yeah. It's your boy Real Funny as fuck, we back at it again with another YouTube reaction video. Man, let's get this shit started, man. Killer husband caught wearing wife's face as mask. This nigga think he Leatherface, ain't he? That nigga watched too many Leatherface
The
movies.
footage you are watching is of a home invasion in Claremont County, Ohio. Two intruders carrying several gas canisters and a duffel bag break in through the main entrance of the home and begin burglarizing the residence. After stealing 2 TVs and dousing the entire house in gasoline, the robbers exit through the back door, and within moments...
Damn!
The explosion could be heard from over a mile away.
911 calls poured in, and by the time the fire department had put out the fire, the house and everything in it had been completely destroyed.
Thankfully, there were no casualties. After checking the security cameras, it was clear to the investigators that this was a case of arson, and possibly an attempted murder. The house that was set on fire actually belonged to 43-year-old Paul Hicks, the prime suspect in one of Ohio's most notorious murder cases.
Damn.
Back in 2001,
Paul's wife, 25-year-old Regina Hicks, went missing and was later found dead inside her car at the bottom of a pond beside a quiet country road. She had been brutally beaten, indicating it was a homicide. However, police were unable to find her killer, and the case went cold. But 14 years later, this robbery would reignite interest in Regina.
14 years later? 14 years later? Damn.
Case, literally.
at the time of the fire, Paul was staying at a hotel for a work trip over 2 hours away.
He rushed back to Claremont County upon hearing what had happened. While reviewing the footage with the police, he immediately recognized the female intruder as his ex-girlfriend, Kelly.
So you've had some problems with her in the past?
Oh, yeah.
She has been threatening to you in the past?
Oh, God, yes.
Apparently, Paul and Kelly were in the middle of an ugly custody battle over their 6-year-old son, Daniel.
3 months earlier, in March, Kelly was caught on camera vandalizing Paul's hot tub.
You got the video of her chopping up the hot tub?
Mm-hmm. 2 months ago, this is when she did that.
She even came back to finish the job later that same night. At one point, she stood up and looked straight into the camera, as if she wanted...
Why are you doing this with no mask? It's like y'all real deal wanna be caught. Like why nobody think these days? Like why nobody think they can't get caught nowadays? Or back then, to the point they said fuck using a mask. See? This is why they say video games help certain people get away with murderers and do murders and shit. Because I'm thinking, I'm thinking just like GTA. I'm getting a mask, nigga. I'm making sure ain't no fucking security cameras around, nigga. See, I'm snitching on myself if I ever did a crime, but I never did a crime. So hot bitch. But yeah. But yeah. Nobody ever thinks. No. Then this bitch go look into the fucking camera like a big ass Teletubby.
Paul to see how far she was willing to take things.
Fucking
Additionally,
idiot.
the day before the robbery, the two had gotten into an argument about the custody battle, and she began
Damn,
harassing
92?
him with phone calls.
Just told her
I did-
to stop calling me, and then she called and
That bitch called this nigga 92 times? 92 times? Man, who the fuck got that much time and courtesy to just keep calling a motherfucker if they ain't picked up after the first 10 calls? You just staring at the phone. You said, you instantly just doing it the whole time. The whole 30 to hour minute However long you was doing that shit, that's how long you were doing that shit. And I know your fingers got tired. I know you got impatient as fuck. So what? That probably what the fuck led to her burning your house down, nigga. She said, oh, so this nigga don't want to answer my motherfucking call, and I called this bitch ass nigga like 95 times. Bad. I got something for you. I'm finna show you. I'm finna show you something, nigga. I'm finna show you what happens when you deal with a black woman. And now you get arsony.
I think 95 times in a row.
Okay, and this was last night.
Yes.
Since there was already an outstanding warrant for the hot tub incident, Kelly was swiftly tracked down and arrested for misdemeanor criminal damage.
But I didn't do anything wrong. I understand. I'm handcuffed like a criminal. I have no record. What you have is a criminal damaging warrant. So it's not, if you haven't gone out and killed anybody or anything, it's just a criminal damage warrant. Okay. Take these off. Now I have to leave the cuffs on, unfortunately. But I did nothing.
Kelly was brought
You
into the
did
interrogation
something.
room for an interview.
Yes, it's being recorded.
Oh, damn, I thought Kelly was black. My
Even
bad.
after being shown video evidence of her involvement in both the hot tub incident and the robbery, Kelly was adamant that the female suspect was not her.
This is the girl that is
Right.
They're trying to say is me, but it's not me. And here's the obviously.
And you guys do resemble each other.
just like the eyes, the cheeks, and
Look at the hair. I need to see the hair. Let me look at the hair. I can tell you off rip, bitch. I can tell you off rip.
I don't have that distinctive chin.
Kelly told the detective that at the time of the incident, she was 30 minutes away in her Norwood home. Surprisingly, they were quickly able to confirm this claim, and Kelly was ruled out as a suspect. But if Kelly wasn't the person in the video, then who was it? The detectives began to notice all of the strange details surrounding this case. Why would the female
I'm telling y'all, that look like a black woman to me. And I'm only saying this because of the fucking hair. Only because of the hair. Only because of the hair. That's the only reason why I'm saying this is a black woman.
intruder, who just so happened to have a striking resemblance to Kelly, completely exposed their face in distinct hairstyle? Why would this same person stare into the camera after vandalizing Paul's hot tub, knowing that it could lead to their arrest? Kelly
They
also
don't
said
give a
that the
fuck.
phone call harassment accusations were completely unwarranted, because she had no contact with Paul that evening whatsoever.
Now, do you have your records from the June 17th that night?
Yeah.
Because the records I find is that you made a lot of phone calls to him. You guys have been texting back and forth on the 17th, so this was the night before the fire.
Here's the whole text message conversation.
Okay, I know he's talking about, hey, he's gonna go for full custody and all that stuff. And then after that, after between about 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock that night, there's numerous phone calls from your phone to his phone.
Oh, no, that's what I was just showing you right here.
Okay.
I never called him at all. After the last time that I spoke with him is at 6:25.
Okay.
And after that, his number's nowhere. I never
Okay.
called him at all.
So there was no phone calls to-
None, zero,
Okay.
none. I never called him at all.
Somehow, somebody was mimicking Kelly's number and harassing Paul. Upon this realization, Kelly said she knew exactly who was behind this: Paul himself. She said that in the past, she had seen Paul use a website called Spoofcard, which disguises your phone number with a fake virtual number of your choice.
I ain't gonna lie, I was literally watching Law and Order last night. And they had a specific episode where somebody was calling, where you was able to call yourself using the same exact number as yours. So if I use my number to call myself, I can call myself with that exact number off the fake page. Like, that shit is crazy, yo. And this is all off the internet. That's why I'm saying, like, shit nowadays is just, there's no privacy. Unless you got VPNs and an amazing scammer or hacker and know how to do this private shit. Have secret folders and shit, and secret cryptic messages and shit. Well, it's a lot.
Information provided by the Spoofcard team, the investigators concluded that Paul had set up this fake number under the name of another one of his ex-girlfriends. He had also purchased multiple items using the same ex's name and bank cards, including a wig that matched Kelly's hair and a creepy, custom-made mask.
Why the fuck did... Yo. I put a wig on and walk out like a bitch. I'm Big Gay, but I've been fucking hoes since kick. That's how he feeling, bruh. That's exactly how this nigga feeling, fool. Ain't no fucking way. That's why he stared into the fucking camera. But how the fuck he must got a bodysuit on or some shit. What the fuck?
From that
So who the fuck is the nigga behind him? That's his brother or something? His friend or something? Cause boy, it showed. If anything, I would have thought Paul was the man behind the girl. But whole time Paul is the female with the wig.
myface.com using reference photos of Kelly. Many of these photos were displayed on Paul's social media, and some of them originated from Paul's cell phone, meaning he must have uploaded these photos to the website himself. Paul had already been ruled out as one of the intruders, since he was confirmed to be 2 hours away at the time of the robbery. But even though they couldn't identify the intruders, it appeared that Paul was the mastermind behind this elaborate frame job, likely to gain full custody of their son and collect the insurance money from the fire.
This failed plan resulted in a 7-year-long civil suit with Allstate Insurance, who refused to pay out his home insurance policy. Eventually, he was faced with 6 criminal charges as well.
The plan was to frame his ex-girlfriend and get custody of their child and collect insurance money. But investigators in Claremont County say they did not buy the elaborate scheme and took the case to a grand jury. 43-year-old Paul Hicks is now indicted for aggravated arson, insurance fraud, and perjury.
With all of this attention on Paul, old rumors about his involvement in Regina Hicks' murder were coming back into the spotlight. So, investigators took another look at the evidence collected back in 2001.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Regina Hicks.
Is not available.
Please give me a call. Sorry. Regina, I don't know where you're at or what you're doing, but I swear to God, you're not hurt.
It's me phone. Should you be here at 8:39? Give me a call. Bye.
End of message.
Everybody else sounded so concerning, so civil, but Paul, he on a Russian time clock. And they did say that's his ex-wife, so if this is around the time of 2001, were they divorced then, or were they still dating? Because why the fuck did boyfriend pop up? That just threw me off.
She was supposed to come pick my son up. She called me at 7:53, and that's what my cell phone said. I don't know exactly what she exactly said, but she goes, I'll be there.
Regina was supposed to come pick up Montana at Steve's house?
Yeah.
And she never showed up?
Never showed up.
Actually, Paul is lying. Regina did show up to pick up their son, but she immediately got into a heated argument with Paul, who then struck her 3 times in the head, knocking her unconscious.
Damn!
I took it back to my sister's, and I figured if she was going to show up, she'd show up there or show up the next morning.
You said earlier you thought maybe she just didn't show. She was maybe partying or something?
Yeah, we did partying everywhere. All bars, people's houses, wherever there's a party.
Paul then tries to convince the detectives that Regina was a drug dealer, despite her family saying she was never involved with drugs whatsoever.
He tells them that just 1 month before this interview, on September 6, 2001, she got arrested during a traffic stop for having marijuana and pills inside her vehicle.
She had marijuana.
That's your shit, nigga.
She was going to Kentucky, and
she got busted with dope?
No, her Well, she got busted here in Willard. I don't know if she was taking it or what she was doing. I know what she did at the house, but she didn't sell it. And then, well, she got busted for that.
Which was the charger. What kind of dope she
Never
had?
charged her with nothing.
Paul once again is leaving out key details about this incident, making it seem like Regina had some shady drug deals that could have led to somebody murdering her. What Paul isn't mentioning is that his best friend, Steve Gates, was actually the person who called the police on Regina.
When Regina was pulled over and arrested, she said that Paul and Steve had planted these drugs in her vehicle and were trying to set her up in
Come on
order
now.
for Paul to gain full custody of their son, Montana.
Come on now. I just said that was his
If you
shit.
get joint custody,
I just
you
said
get everything
that.
you want. The furniture, everything. And she said, okay, I'll do that. She decided to change her mind. She's not going to give me joint custody. Somebody told her she's not going to get child support.
And look at her fucking. Man, when you look at her picture, bro. This nigga talking about pills and marijuana. Okay, marijuana don't make you look that bad. I mean, will not change your facial features. But pills, nigga. Pills down to do something. It might not do a whole lot. Like out of the first couple of years and shit, but them pills do something to a nigga. That shit go change your facial expressions, no doubt about it. Just like meth, heroin, cocaine. That shit gonna make you look a certain type of way. And Sir Paul, I think you're the person who does that shit, and not Regina, because Regina, she looked flawless.
If I get joint custody.
It's been a pretty nasty affair, huh?
Yep. She's got a diminished twist to her, I guess you could say. That she don't want to see me now.
Some important context is that according to Regina's family and friends, Paul was a controlling and abusive husband, and Regina had been considering leaving him for a while. 6 months before her death, their house was destroyed in, you guessed it, a house fire, and she and Paul split the insurance money. Suddenly,
So, sir, you... Damn, almost 100K? Almost 100K? Almost 100K, goddamn! That's 50-50 each! What? I tell you. And then, nigga, this shit just keeps adding up. you keep having arson under your fucking list, nigga. When somebody mention arson, they think of you. And when somebody think of you, they think of arson. So, nigga, what? That shit is gonna always be connected to you, nigga, no matter what you do. Whatever bad you doing in life, nigga, that shit is gonna be connected to you forever.
Regina had money in the bank and decided it was a good time to break free from her abusive marriage. So she filed for a divorce. Paul did not want to...
See, there's another thing. For all you abusers out there that like to beat on y'all wives and shit, and all the women that like to beat on y'all husbands and shit. Like, when a person wanna leave your abusive ass, let them leave. Like, how can you love somebody to the point where you are capable enough to beat the fuck out them? That's not love. How are you able to beat the fuck out your wife or beat the fuck out your husband and still continue to try to make love to them the same night or the next night, or make them feel wanted again, or feel loved again, but in some cases folks learn how to use manipulation to get what the fuck they want and make somebody stay with them forever. But it's like, if you notice that you're getting manipulated, why won't you counter, like, I'm trying to put this. If you know you get manipulated to the point where they may say this is love, but it's not real love, I think you should just move away from them silently, like bits by bits. When they is not at the crib, you move your shit into a storage unit. And when you get your last few belongings out of the house, then that's when you take your happy ass to the nearest fucking phone service company and either get your line switched over to a new service, not the same service that you and your husband were just on. Fuck that, cause then they might go back to the records and find out that you switched your number and shit, and now the fucking people go be obligated to tell the husband or the wife what your new number is. No. Fuck around. Fuck all that. Just save that shit and get a new phone. Go get a new phone. Don't stick with that. That shit got too many motherfucking emotional damage on that hoe. Or connected to that hoe. Don't even go buy a new phone. Go buy a new phone, bro. Start your whole journey over. Like, start everything over. Every fucking thing. Get a new fucking hairstyle. Shit. Dye that bitch or some shit. Like, just change your whole appearance to the point where this motherfucker might not even recognize who the fuck you is. If you black, go white. If you white, go black. Even that shit not even possible. I'm just joking. On that last part, but everything else I was saying.
Pay child support, so he made it clear that he wanted full custody.
However, in less than 2 months, Paul had blown through most of the insurance money, lost his job, and was soon due to start paying child support.
Despite...
That's another... How the fuck do you blow through 50K, nigga? How do you not know how to manage your money, bro? Y'all see this fat amount of money and just think, I can just spend whatever I want. Like, this is a golden ticket. Instead of trying to triple that money and double that. Double it, triple it, quadruple it, whatever the fuck. Just know you should be flipping that shit and not spending that shit. That's all. Now your ass is out of money, out of a job, and you got child support to pay.
This clear motive to want Regina out of the picture, Paul insisted that he didn't try to set her up back in September. And more importantly, he vehemently denied killing her.
No way.
The detectives interviewing Paul asked him to do a polygraph test. Paul agreed.
Polygraph?
However, when he came in the next day to
test.
do the test, they ran into a problem.
Okay, first of all, I guess I'm going to ask, are you willing to take the examination? You know, when I had some of sure, absolutely. Is it matter if you're drinking or if there's pills, something? Well, it depends what type of pill you take.
At this point, the polygraph examiner decided not to go through with the test since the alcohol and pills in Paul's system could mess up the results. However, the examiner went forward with the pre-test interview.
This nigga just said pills, though. Then Regina say that Paul planted some pills and marijuana on her in her car. I would have asked what type of pills, nigga. Just to go back to that specific day that she so-called got busted with them hoes. To see if that lines up with the same type of pills he got now. Got your bitch ass.
Interview anyway. During the interview, he made up a fake scientific test called the ozone atomic test.
I mean, this determines the time of death. No, like I said, determines who was with her at the time of the death. There's particles that are floating inside the car.
He was trying to make Paul think that the crime lab had overwhelming evidence against him, which would hopefully elicit a confession. However, the examiner was only able to get basic information out of Paul before the interview was concluded, and Paul was free to go. Following this interview, the detective struggled to find any new evidence or leads, and the investigation eventually fizzled out.
We just want justice.
Lacella Holbrook's dining room table speaks volumes about what she's been doing in the year since her daughter Regina Hicks' murder. Clippings, posters, and handbills, all designed to keep the case in the public eye.
Somewhere somebody knows something. It's just a matter, is the people afraid to speak up?
But no one has spoken up. Just how did Regina end up beaten in the head inside of her car in this pond where she died of drowning? Worst of all, she left a 5-year-old son, Montana. Tell me about your mom.
She used to buy me toys a lot.
You miss her, huh?
I know Paul didn't do this. I raised Paul. I know what kind of child Paul is. So I know Paul didn't do this.
18 years.
Let's be honest. Nobody really ever fucking knows they child unless they real deal sit the fuck down and real deal talk to their child, nigga. Don't nan fucking parent really know they fucking child until they real deal be cool and friends with their ass. Even though black parents nowadays don't want to be cool with their kids because they think once they cool with their kids, it's gonna be disrespect after that. But no, if you and your mom got a cool ass relationship, you know damn well you're not gonna disrespect your mama. You wouldn't even think about disrespecting your mama. But for the motherfuckers that actually be strict or be like, nah, fuck that. The ones that actually be strict, I'm sorry, y'all barely be knowing y'all kids. I'm sorry. Y'all too focused on disciplining their ass that you don't even know what the fuck they really be doing outside in these streets, man. Unless you real deal just slip up and find out some shit about their ass. But other than that, y'all don't know y'all kids. Did you know this nigga was an arsonist?
Later, in January of 2019, Paul was facing 6 criminal charges related to the 2015 house fire. 2 counts of aggravated arson, 3 counts of perjury, and 1 count of insurance fraud. He was offered a plea deal which eliminated 5 of the charges and reduced the remaining insurance fraud charge to a misdemeanor. He accepted the deal in 2022 and received 3 years of probation. As for his civil suit against Allstate Insurance, he ultimately lost that case and was forced to pay $400,000. Regina's family, who still believed Paul was responsible for Regina's death, saw these punishments as a slap on the wrist and urged authorities to reopen Regina's case.
Nigga ain't even touched 400. Nigga ain't even touched 400K in his life, but he gotta pay that shit.
For years, her mom, Lacella Holbrook, spent thousands on billboards, rewards, newspaper ads to keep people talking about the case and conducting her own interviews on her daughter's death.
My mom ended up getting cancer and passing away.
For over 2 decades, the family has lived with one question: who killed Regina?
That was until Ashley Ford, who hosts her own true crime podcast, began looking into Regina's case.
I wanted to see if we could get some attention to a cold case that definitely deserves justice.
As she dove into the evidence, she quickly realized that there was one person that could hold the answers the family was looking for: Paul's friend, Steve Gates. As we mentioned earlier, Steve had called 911 to report Regina for the illegal possession of drugs in her vehicle.
Also, Regina was on her way to Steve's house right before she disappeared. It seemed possible that after their ploy to get Regina arrested for possession didn't work,
Paul and Steve decided to take things to the next level and get rid of her.
Ashley and the family raised enough awareness about the case that it was reopened by the Huron County authorities.
An interview was set up with Steve, and the first thing he said to the investigators was that he was ready to tell them everything, as long as he had immunity. The prosecutors agreed, and Steve began telling them what happened on the night of October 18th, 2001. Steve said that Regina pulled into his driveway. She was there to pick up Montana, her and Paul's 4-year-old son. Paul walked up to her car, and the couple got into an intense argument. Steve didn't want to get involved, so he went to his garage, turned on the radio, and tinkered around for a bit. When he came back outside, Regina's car was now parked near the road, and Paul was standing at her passenger side door. He went over and noticed that Regina was unresponsive. He asked Paul what was wrong with her, and Paul said that she was dead. At this point in the interview, Steve broke down in tears, but he eventually composed himself and
So, You didn't call the police? So, you didn't want to rat out your friend? So, even though this is your buddy, and that's his baby mama, you didn't give a fuck that he just took her life? So, you didn't give a fuck there was a dead body in your driveway? White people.
Finished his story. Steve told Paul to call 911, but Paul refused. They argued for a bit before Paul said to Steve that he was now an accomplice.
He wouldn't have been a fucking accomplice if the bitch ass just decided to call the police. But this nigga talking about Paul, this nigga telling Paul to call the police instead of him calling the fucking police. Nigga, you act like you got something in your shit. Nigga, the crime scene is within your driveway, not your fucking house. So either way, they would have just been fucking talking to Paul and then talking to you by saying what the fuck happened. All you gonna tell them is exactly what the fuck you just said right now, 14 years later, nigga. Boy, I tell you. I fucking tell you. Shake ass nigga. You scared of Paul? You scared Paul was gonna beat your ass and kill you too, huh? When nigga you live at your shit and you could have got your own fucking weapon to defend yourself, nigga, against your friend. I don't give a fuck. That nigga just killed somebody. You think he gonna have remorse for you too?
He had to help get rid of the body. Paul got into Regina's car and started driving toward a pond several miles away.
Steve followed behind in Paul's truck with their son Montana in the back seat.
They eventually made it to the pond, and Paul drove straight in, Regina still in the passenger seat. Paul then escaped the vehicle out of the window and hopped into the car with Steve. During their drive home, Paul called Regina's cell phone to make it seem like she had never showed up.
It's me, Paul. Should you be here at 8:39?
Like I said, that nigga didn't sound
Steve drove
fucking
Paul to his
concerned
sister
like
Crystal's
anybody
house
else.
since he was living with her at the time.
Paul thought she wouldn't be home for a while, but that day, she just so happened to get off of work early.
I came home to a mess in my house, and I was headed to the bathroom, and he tried to cut me off. And
Who's he?
my brother. And he said it was a mess, I would be mad. And when I proceeded to go to the bathroom anyhow, his muddy clothes were floating in the bathtub. We've been trying to clean them. Steve was sitting on the couch, and like I said, I think I surprised them both because I got up earlier than normal. He had scratches on I do believe it was his neck or part of his face, somewhere in this area. He said a tree had fallen on him, scratched him.
Steve said that in the years following this incident, Paul threatened him and his family, telling him to keep his mouth shut. Following his...
That's what I just fucking said. You think this nigga gonna have fucking remorse for you too, nigga? And he just took his own wife life, nigga. He just took his baby mama life, and you think this nigga gonna have fucking remorse for you too? For you too, nigga? I'll kill you before you kill me, bitch. Fuck.
Interview, Steve and the investigators drove to his property, where he gave them a more thorough walkthrough of what happened that night.
And then I come around the corner. They were like standing maybe here somewhere. I just remember this little swale. They were in this little, and they were like yelling at each other.
And you were over there. So when you came out of the garage, where were they at?
Down there, down by the fence, or behind the dump trailer.
That boy got a fucking farm.
Like amped up and just.
I'm thinking it's just a house. This nigga got
not
farmland.
clear at that point because I'm like,
right,
you know, you're involved and everything else, you know, and just.
How long do you think you were standing by the car with Hicks?
Minutes.
And then you get in his car and follow.
With Steve's cooperation on their side, the prosecutors finally felt confident enough in their case to arrest Paul. They followed his movements for a while before pulling him over on a country road.
All right, we're lighting them up.
Boy, popped out with ARP, nigga.
Come on, step out.
We're gonna go over here in the cruiser. You got out quick here.
Paul, I don't know if they told you yet, we had a warrant for your arrest. Okay. Nobody's told me that. So what am I being arrested for? There was an indictment.
Paul was transported back to the station, where the detectives tried to interview him. But as far as Paul was concerned, an interview wasn't on the agenda.
It's not being disrespectful to me, because give what you need to do and show me the charges so I can make my call.
Do you want to know what the indictment is?
No, I want to make my phone call.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we would like to talk to you about what that
And I remain silent. I don't want you to talk to me about nothing.
So you don't have anything to say?
I have nothing to say to you. I want my phone call. They were supposed to bring my phone, which I know is a lie. They're not going to.
Well, you'll get your phone call when you get into the jail.
Oh, I'm not in the jail?
No, this is an interview room.
Take me to jail.
So
This nigga like take me to jail.
So
just so I can't get my phone call.
Well, I'll remain silent.
Well, then that's fine. That's fine.
You don't get to you when they get time to get to you. Oh, I know. I said in the car. Well, I don't get it. I know you don't. You guys don't.
Well, it's all about you, Paul.
Yeah.
Since Paul was being stubborn, the interview was concluded and Paul was taken to the county jail. He was charged with murder and kidnapping. Paul pled not guilty and was denied bond.
We continue to follow huge developments in a 24-year-old cold case. A mother found dead in her car. Now, her estranged husband has been indicted for murder.
The recent developments have opened a door and led to, at long last, an indictment. Now it's up to us to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law.
Paul's trial began on December 10th, 2025. The state had no physical evidence to directly link Paul to the murder, so they mainly had to rely on witness testimony in order to convince the jury of Paul's guilt. More specifically, they had to make sure that the jury believed Steve Gates' story. The same Steve Gates that helped dispose of the victim's body, lied to the authorities, and kept Paul's horrific secret for 24 years.
Steve Gates discussed what happened on October 18th, but he lied. And he's going to get up on the witness stand, and he's going to admit to you he lied. He lied to the sheriff's department. He lied for 24 years. He could have continued lying. Nothing would have happened to him. He had nothing to gain by coming clean. Steve Gates will tell you that.
To everybody's surprise, the defense decided not to give an opening statement, so the state started calling their witnesses. They called several members of Regina's family to tell the court what they knew about her relationship with Paul.
Was he controlling as far as their relationship went?
Yes, like she would only talk to her mom when he wasn't home. Towards the end, she was kind of wanting to end things because she knew he was legit, and he pretty much told her that nobody'd want her. If he couldn't have her, nobody could.
Please read what you heard the defendant say.
I hate you, die. You're a ball and chain, old lady, dumb.
You're a ball and chain.
More to me dead.
The fuck does that mean?
Steve Gates requested that his identity be kept hidden during the trial, so no cameras or...
The fuck does you're a fucking ball and chain, old lady? What type of insult is that? Ball and chain. Huh?
Old lady, dumb. You're worth more to me dead than you are alive.
Steve Gates requested that his identity be kept hidden during the trial, so no cameras or audio recording devices were allowed during his testimony. The state's next few witnesses corroborated Steve's...
Sir, you must think Paul got some hitters on the outside. The fact. I'm pretty sure he was the only one that said he would do everything that he threatened you and your family with. I think he was the main accomplice that was gonna do that shit, and he don't have anybody besides you, the only nigga he trusted with this crime. I don't think he had anybody else outside them gates wanna fuck you up, bro. I'm just being honest.
Story, like Jimmy Patrick, Regina's uncle, who had apparently seen her car at Steve's house on the night of the murder.
I was driving by Gates' house. I just glanced over and looked, and I said, that looks like her car.
when you see that car, you said it was getting dark?
Yeah, dusty dark.
Paul's sister Crystal also corroborated Steve's testimony with her story about coming home to a muddy bathroom and Paul's scratched up face. Jansen Phipps, Paul's ex-girlfriend at the time of Regina's death, told the jury about the days following her disappearance. She said that after Paul left his sister's house, he came over to stay the night, but he snuck out while she was sleeping.
What happened after you went?
I went to sleep, I woke up, and Paul was gone, but I didn't get anything of it, and I went back to sleep.
When he got back, he told Jansen that he had accidentally left a pair of boots at his sister's house, so he went there to grab them.
What did he tell you about funny boots?
A pair of boots, bro. The same pair of boots that you murdered Regina in. And you worried about them hoes because they got the mud and shit on it, huh? 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 Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And if you really was about some fucking boots, why you couldn't wait till the morning to get them hoes? Like, why did you have to get out of your sleep? Get out of her bed just to go grab some boots in the middle of the night. And what are the odds that if your sister were actually up unless you have a key to your sister's house? And other than that, I can't say anything.
That he had a pair of muddy boots from the day that Regina went missing because they were digging the pond, and he put them on his sister's back porch and somebody stole them.
She soon learned of Regina's death, and she noticed that Paul had a sudden interest in true crime and polygraph tests.
Did you also watch crime shows?
We watched a lot of forensic files and just shows about how people would get rid of evidence and things like that. He told me that that there were ways to beat a lie detector test.
Did he talk to you about things like breathing techniques, things like that?
Yeah, he had a book. I feel in my memory like it had a yellow covering. It was a softback, it wasn't a hardback book. But yeah, it was how to beat a lie detector. Told me he was just...
That nigga is hardcore. That nigga is hardcore.
Trying to protect himself.
She also testified that Paul had admitted to planting drugs in Regina's car as an attempt to get her arrested.
He told me that he and Steve worked together to plant drugs in Regina's car to keep her from getting custody of Montana.
Throughout this trial, the defense leaned into the lack of physical evidence to plant reasonable doubt into the jury's minds.
There's nothing that you found when you reviewed the DNA to implicate Paul Hicks. Isn't that true?
There's nothing at all that I can compare to anybody. It's just simply not sufficient for comparison purposes.
They also questioned Steve Gates' credibility. They suggested that he was using Paul as a scapegoat by lying about his involvement in order to gain immunity.
The state conceded that Steve Gates has lied for 24 years. Is that your position?
That's what I've been told, sir.
And you can't rule out, as you sit there, that he is going to lie tomorrow.
I can't. No, sir, I can't.
They then called out the former sheriff for having tunnel vision on Paul from the very beginning.
You testified you're trying to rule people out. You got her best friend telling you she's having relations with 4 guys and you don't send anything to BCI in regards to those 4 men.
We did not send anything in regards to those 4 men, that's right.
So then, as you sit here today, you didn't rule out those 4 potential men as suspects in this case.
Nothing led us to believe those 4 people were suspects.
After a 2-week trial, it was time for the closing arguments.
Paul Hicks assaulted his wife, Regina Hicks, hit her over the head, stuffed her into a passenger seat of her 1994 Camaro. We are fully confident you will find beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant, Paul Hicks, is guilty of murdering Regina Hicks.
To find Paul guilty, you have to find him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, the absolute highest standard in our legal system. Their whole case was based upon speculation and conjecture. Remember back in the 70s or 80s with the "Where's the beef" commercials? Where's the beef? Where's the beef? Well, let's get to the beef in the case. 0 forensic evidence linking Paul to the alleged crime scenes. Zero. Nothing. Zero forensic evidence to corroborate the scientifically unverified fiction of Charlatan Gates. They checked for blood, hair, skin, body fluids, nothing. There's also 4 other men that were potential suspects that they didn't send any testing to.
Motive. That's what it's about here. Regina's independence. Regina wanted child support. Regina wanted custody. Regina fought back. You don't fight back against Paul Hicks.
At this time, then, we will take a time for the jury to begin their deliberations.
After just 3 hours of jury deliberations, a verdict was reached.
On the indictment for count 1 being murder, the jury finds the defendant guilty of murder.
Fuck you, Tommy!
It's dated December 19th, 2025.
Paul continued to shake his head as he was found guilty on all of his charges. His sentencing took place the next month, on January 9th, 2026. Before Paul learned his fate, Regina's family gave their impact statements, expressing the depth of the pain and grief Paul had caused them.
Regina was intelligent, far more intelligent than you. She had a rare kindness and a heart that would have only grown stronger with time. She brought light into the lives of others simply by being herself. She would have made a real impact on this world. This was a calculated act of control by a man who believed he had the right to decide whether his wife lived or died. And you made that choice. You erased her from her son's daily existence. You silenced the voice that would have guided him. You stole the mother who would have comforted him, protected him, corrected him, and loved him through every stage of his life. He grew up without her wisdom, her reassurance, and her presence. Regina will be remembered forever. You will be held accountable and forgotten.
Paul Hicks, you're a monster. I hope Paul Hicks and Joel Hicks see Regina's face every night of their lives. I hope you, Paul Hicks, get a disease that eats you away, slowly and very painfully. I hope you rot in hell, Paul Hicks. You think you're above the law, but they finally got you.
Paul was not born a monster. Monsters are made. They are created through choices, through entitlement, through being enabled and never held accountable. Over time, Paul was allowed to believe he had power over others and that he could have control, harm, and destroy without consequence. And that belief turned him into exactly what we see today. Regina was everything he was not. She was a beautiful spirit. She carried light, kindness, and warmth into the lives around her.
Your Honor, this case could have been solved 24 years ago if the Hernando County Sheriff Department and Dane Howard would have done their job. But they didn't. So I want to thank you, this court, and the jury for getting justice for Regina and my family. As far as saying anything to Paul, he don't care. I'm not going to say anything. One thing I got to say to him is get used to prison food and don't drop the soap. Thank you, Your Honor.
Don't drop the soap.
Paul and Regina's now 28-year-old son gave a written impact statement which was read to the court by a victim's advocate. I stand before you as the biggest victim of this tragedy. I grew up without a mother and was shunned by my mother's family and treated like an outsider. My whole life has been affected by this and is still being affected today. I can't escape this. During this impact statement, it became clear that Montana wasn't fully convinced that his father had killed his mother. To me, there is no justice as to lack of evidence. Nothing has been solved, and nothing will be until the truth comes out about who really did this to my mother. Do I feel like he should be punished? No, but anyone who committed a crime should pay. I lost my mom, and now I'm losing my dad. Montana then asked the judge,
Nigga, he killed your mom. And you're not fucking old enough to understand that, nigga. If you would have remembered that fucking night, that fucking day that you rode in the fucking car with your dad to drop you off to your mom, and you heard they arguing, and you mean to tell me from that point on, even though you were just a little ass kid, nigga, from that point on, arguing leads to bad shit. Arguing leads to bad shit, Montana. And you gon' fucking learn. You gon' learn that your father killed your mother, nigga. You're gonna learn. Talking about anybody who did it shouldn't be punished, but anybody who did the crime should be paid. He's paying for the crime. What the fuck? You're losing your father because he killed your
for
mother.
leniency, urging mental health treatment for his dad rather than incarceration. After taking everything into consideration, the judge handed down Paul's sentence.
There is no reason for any leniency in this case. The defendant had the benefit of roaming free for the last quarter of a century before facing justice here today. The court's total sentence then would be 25 years to life.
Paul sat emotionless as he learned his fate. He was taken to the Lake Erie Correctional Institution in Conneaut, Ohio, where he will spend the rest of his life behind bars.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But honestly, none of this, besides the fucking arson and shit, but nothing really showed that this nigga was really wearing a face. Besides him staring at that camera. So that had to be when he made a face out of her. Damn. Anybody else ear be on some irritating shit like that for me? I know it ain't just mine. Damn. But yeah, Montana, your ass gonna learn, nigga. Your dad killed your mama, boy. It been your boy Rell. Peace.